Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bible Story Adventures with Rhondi Rabbit, courtesy of Sherry Hales Ministries. This is Rhondi Rabbit, and I'm Mama Roz. And today we're going to continue with another exciting Bible adventure story with Rhondi. Rhondi, would you like to start us off with your theme song? Okay, go ahead and start. Okay, will you sing with me today? Will I sing with you today? Okay, sure, I'll sing with you, Rhondi. Okay, you start, okay? Okay. Rhondi, it's Rhondi. Let's get going with Rhondi. Rhondi, it's Rhondi. Let's get going with me. Rhondi, it's Rhondi. Let's get going with Rhondi. Rhondi, it's Rhondi. Let's get going with me. Rhondi gets going by reading a book. Just take a look, she's reading a book. Rhondi gets going by reading a book. So let's get going with me. Yay. All right, yay, Rhondi. So let's get started, okay? Okay. All right. So today we are going to read a story about the first sin, okay? Okay. What's a sin? Well, a sin is when God has said not to do something, um, and someone goes and does it anyway. That's what a sin is, okay? Okay. All right, so let's read about it. Okay. Adam and Eve were allowed to eat the fruit of all the trees in their home, the Garden of Eden, except for one. This is the tree of knowledge, God told them, pointing out a beautiful tree covered with ripe rosy apples. You must never touch its fruit. So that's what God basically, he told them. Actually, Rhondi, there were two trees. There was the tree of eternal life, and then there was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So those trees, God did not want them to eat from, but they could eat from every other tree, okay? Okay. All right, let's keep reading. Keep reading. Okay. All right. So one day, a snake who lived in the garden saw Eve standing by the tree of knowledge. She was looking up at the juicy apples that hung from its branches. Slyly, the snake slithered up to her. "Look at those delicious ripe apples," it hissed. Why don't you try one?" "Why don't you try one?" "Yeah, why don't you try one?" "But you said that God said that they're not supposed to try one." "I know. That is what God told them. Um, but the snake wanted them to try one." "Oh my! Why?" Well, when we read a story before, everything we talked about when God made the animals. Remember? "I remember." So he made all the animals and he made everything to be good. But this snake, he was being used to be bad. Used to be bad? Mm-hmm. Um, Let me just keep reading, okay? So I think maybe the story will explain it maybe a little bit better, okay? Okay, keep reading. All right, let's keep reading. So, of course, Eve knew she was not allowed to touch the apples, and she told the snake so. And the snake said, "Smell?" Let's see, wait. The snake said, "Smell how sweet they are." and um, insisted that she try one. He kept trying to get her to do something that God had told her um, that she shouldn't do. That's a bad snake. Yes, he was a bad snake. All right. It's okay. So then he says, "How can it harm to take just one? Go on. You know you want to." Eve shook her head firmly, but the snake would. Randy, you gotta move back some. Okay. All right. Thank you. So Eve shook her head firmly, but the snake would not give up. Hmm. He was really bad. He was really bad, Rondi. Let's keep reading. Okay. Um, so it says, I know why God I know why God doesn't want you to eat the apples. It boasted. If you do, they will give you the gift of knowledge. Then you will know everything he knows. You will know both good and evil. Randy, move back a little, sweetie. Okay. Thank you, Randy. So Eve looked up at the delicious fruit. She couldn't help wondering what it would be like to know all that God knew. That was not good. No, it wasn't good, Rondi. Okay. So reaching out, she quickly picked a juicy looking apple and took a bite. Oh no! I know, she wasn't supposed to. Oh no, that's not a good thing when God says not to do it and then you do it. That's right. And that's exactly what sin is. So when God tells you not to do it and then you do it, that's what God calls a sin. Oh my! Let's keep reading, okay? Okay. All right. So it says, you're here. Okay, thank you, Rondi. So it says, then she passed it. So she did take a bite, Rondi. Okay. So it says, reaching out, she quickly picked a juicy looking apple and she took a bite. Then she passed it on to Adam and encouraged him to take a bite too. Oh no! I know it wasn't good. It was. You're right. You're right to respond like that because it wasn't good. Oh, okay, Randy. Thank you for telling him, but this already happened. Oh no! I know. Let's keep reading, Randy, okay? Don't get too upset. It already happened, okay? Okay, keep reading. All right. So, then she passed it to Adam and encouraged him to take a bite too. From then on, things started to go wrong. Things started to go wrong? Mm-hmm. Like what thing? Lots of things. It's let me keep reading, okay? Okay, keep reading. So that night, when God spoke to Adam and Eve, he knew what they had done. God was not happy and told them to leave the garden forever. To leave the garden forever? Mm-hmm. Oh no! Where they gonna go to? Well, they had to go. God told them to go, so they went. So let's keep reading and see what else happened, okay? Okay, keep reading. All right. So, to make sure they couldn't return, God sent an angel to guard the entrance. That's what happened. So we'll have to learn more when we keep reading. But basically, you know, God had put, so it told us that there were two, you know, like I explained to you, there were two trees they weren't supposed to eat from. And one tree was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And then the other tree was the tree of everlasting life. Everlasting life. So everything would just keep living forever.
But that's good.
Yes, it is good. And they already had everlasting life because when God created us, He created us to have everlasting life.
Well, why did he put the tree there?
Well, one thing is when God made us, He didn't want to make us so that we had to. He wanted to give us a choice, in other words, because He's a loving God and He wanted us to be able to choose to love Him and listen to Him. He didn't want to force us.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they had to have choices. Even though God made everything perfect, they still had to have choices. So when they didn't listen because the snake tricked them, um, you know, but God did, He made a plan to make it all better again because He loves people.
Oh, yay,
I know, that's good that He did make a plan. So we'll find out more about that later, okay?
yay. Okay.
What did you think about that story?
Hmm. Well, I think it's a, I think it's a story. I don't know if I can say it's a good story, 'cause a bad thing happened. But it's good to know.
Yeah, I would say the same thing too. It's good to know. But one thing about the Bible, Rhondi, it tells us things that happen, and everything is not good all the time. Um, but it just is telling us what happened. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Okay. So we're gonna keep reading, okay? And just remember, some of the stories are gonna be happy stories, but some of the stories might not be happy. All right?
All right.
All right. But God gave us this book because He wants us to know, and you know, He wants us to be close to Him, and He loves us very much. So He gave us, you know, He gave us the Bible to help us live a good life. Okay.
Okay.
So Rondi, let's end for today. You know, that was a different type of story than the other stories we read, but you know, but we're gonna learn a lot from reading. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for reading to me.
You're welcome, Rondi. Let's say bye to everyone, and you know, we'll read another story next week. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Bye.